Hey everyone, this is Matt Black from WrestleZone.com, and I am here to talk to you about WWE 2K24 with Bryan Williams and Lynell Jinks of 2K. Guys, how you doing today?
Good. How's it going?
Doing good, Matt. Doing very good.
I'm glad to hear it. First things first, the new showcase of the Immortals, 40 years of WrestleMania, kind of revisiting the story mode from WWE 2K14. Could you talk about the process of the decision to go back to that story mode 10 years later, and what different things are you planning to do in this as comparable to what you guys did in 2K14?
Yeah, it's a huge milestone, right? 40 years of WrestleMania. It's for us, it was a no-brainer, right? When you think about like the amount of matches that we probably didn't feature in 2K14 or the matches that have taken place since. And now with our slingshot tech and doing that transition, that smooth as butter transition with the slingshot tech, from gameplay to live action footage, and telling that, the stories that the only WWE can tell, would really make this mode feel special, and trying to painstakingly, match, all of the details from the characters to the animation to the environment to the lighting and the effects that you see on screen is extremely challenging for us, right? And I'm amazed at what we're able to pull off, and some of the match types that or matches that we've chosen this year, and some of the superstars that we're featuring, is just it's unlike anything we've ever done.
In terms of the actual gameplay itself, I read that there's improvements to gameplay this year. And when we compare it back to 2K14, I can't speak for everybody, but me personally, I thought 2K14 was some of the most fun gameplay to play of a WWE game. Like between the ropes, when the bell rang, I was having a blast playing matches in 2K14. What have you guys done now 10 years later? What kind of improvements are you shifting to the gameplay this year to make it different than what people experienced in 2K23?
Oh, brother, let me count the ways, Matt. Let me count the ways. So I mean, as I'm sure you've seen from the press release, we've added four new match types, two
Yes.
match types that were in the franchise previously and are coming back in the special guest referee match and gauntlet. And we also have two, match types making their franchise debut in the ambulance and casket. Um, all four are tremendous. I know that fans have been requesting the special guest referee. I'm sure you've probably heard it on your socials, and so we are very excited and happy to bring that match back to the fans. We listen to the fans. Sometimes, maybe we don't get to them or their needs and their wants as quickly as they would like, but we do listen. And when we get there, we make sure that when we deliver, we deliver strong, and we have done that this year with the special guest referee. I'm sure you remember playing. Speaking of 2K14, that match type was in 2K14, and I think one of the most obvious differences you'll notice in this year's iteration of the match type is that when you select that ref, whether it's Cody Rhodes or Bianca Belair, and you launch into the match type, that special guest ref will automatically be outfitted in referee attire, letting there be no mistaking who is officiating this match. And that's not to say to go along with all the functionalities inherent of being the ref, of counting pins, rope checks, ring out counts, all those things players will have, the freedom to enforce or not enforce as they, see fit. So I think fans are really going to have a blast with the return of the special guest ref. Some of the other things that I think fans are going to geek out about are, we have, brought back throwable weapons, which is something that hasn't been the franchise since SmackDown versus Raw 2011. This year, any object that you're holding, with the exception of one, can be thrown at your opponent, basically upending what hardcore and no DQ matches have been. Having to, especially in a multi-person situation, if someone's got a weapon, you've got to, not only watch out for the handheld strike, but the fact that certain objects can be hurled your way, and of course, you'll be able to duck, dodge, and in some cases even catch thrown weapons. So it's been fun. I mean, just us testing it on the gameplay side, it's been a blast, and I think fans are really going to gravitate to that. We have something that's brand new this year is we've added super finishers. And this is really exciting. So the super finisher is something that certain superstars on the roster will have by default. But any character that you create or edit, you can freely add a super finisher to anybody's moveset. Characters can hold up to two. And the super finisher is that, that coup de grace. It's that the coup de grace. It is the move that, when used, should effectively put that person down for the count. Cody Rhodes, for example, we've talked about him. His super finish is his Crossroads Trinity, where he basically performs the Crossroads 3 times in succession. He usually only busts it out in the big matches, and so in the game, he'll have that assigned as his super finish. And the way they work is that if you have 3 stored finisher stock, your super finisher becomes enabled. And when you hit it, I think this is the cool and important thing too, because we really want to emphasize the super and the super finisher, is that if you use this on an opponent who has resiliency, it is so super and so powerful, Matt, that it'll temporarily knock out that character's use of resiliency for a temporary period of time. Because again, we really want to emphasize the power of these moves.
Well, and then visually, like we accompany that with like some cool effects and like audio, like there's like even the HUD, like it lights up with like electricity, like when you have a super finisher and when you hit it, like there's no missing it.
There's no missing it. Yeah. We've added some new paybacks too. We have 6 new paybacks that we've added this year, 2 that are going to be unlocked through My Rise, and I won't say what those paybacks are, but when you do unlock them, you'll then be able to use them throughout all areas of the game. And just one of the paybacks that we added in particular, something that I really like. It's not the most powerful one, to be sure, but I'm a character guy, right? It's called Freeze. And what it is that the character who has Freeze can either perform a cowardly kind of chicken-esque begging off motion, or conversely, it can be a motion that is, something used to intimidate an opponent. And when you use it, it basically forces that up, your opponent. It forces them to stop in their track. So if you remember, Eddie Guerrero back in the day would sometimes get on his hands and knees and kind of beg off from his opponent. And they kind of look at him like, look at this guy. Well, you can use Freeze to do that in the game, and it gives you a chance for a free hit. Because like I said, it forces a running opponent, someone advancing towards you, to just automatically stop. So I really dig that, because just outside of its gameplay functions, I think just visually, it just adds that much more character to the superstar that's using it. So I'm really
visually, I go with the fireball, because
and the fireball, yeah,
fireball
is another payback that's new this year. It's a staple in pro wrestling, and it has been for a long time. So when we added that this year. Iron Jaw, which is a payback that you can use to eliminate your stun. Like if your character's stun meter is full, Iron Jaw can be used to clear it, allowing you to continue reversing attacks. Just a whole bunch of really cool things that we've added to the game. Big, small, quality of life improvements that I think the fans are really going to be pleased with. That's my hope, at least.
You did mention about the ability to throw weapons this year, and as you said, we haven't seen that since SmackDown versus Raw 2011. The weapon system kind of got wonky in WWE 12, and it really never got fixed. So just the ability of being able to throw weapons this year, that tells me that weapon interactions and collisions and all that now in 2K24 are way better than we've seen them in the WWE Games franchise in many years now.
You would be correct, sir. adding the ability to throw weapons basically meant somewhat of a refactor of the whole weapon system. And so along with that work, the engineers, the designers, they definitely went through and they kind of rejiggered and reconfigured how weapons work and interact in the game. So I think you'll immediately notice a difference when you get your hands on 2K24 and you start throwing kendo sticks and chairs and and ladders at your opponents. The hit reactions are great. Honestly, when somebody throwing a water bottle and having it beam an opponent upside the head when they're not looking, it never gets old. It's great. I think fans. I expect to see a lot of cool videos on social of characters getting hit and tagged with throwing weapons. Like I said,
or trying to catch them.
Yeah. I don't think fans will be disappointed. It's a great new addition to the game.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. I know my faction's returning this year. I would say the biggest complaint people have about this mode is throughout the year you guys introduce all these great new like alternate character models for wrestlers already in the game, but they're locked to that mode. Has there been anything done this year to allow these alternate models that you unlock in my faction to be used in other modes of 2K24, or are they still locked into my faction?
I don't know if people actually want that, Matt. No, I'm playing. Uh, we haven't announced anything yet, but let's just say that we hope to, please people with a future announcement. So just
Awesome.
stay
Awesome.
tuned.
Perfect.
And
Yeah.
obviously my GM coming back. I know you guys should continue to improve on that every year. One of my major things that I want, and I'm sure a lot of other people do too, I want the ability to play my GM online. I want to be able to just play with my friend and just go back and forth and ruin their shows and just do things and just have fun with it. Any chance my GM online in 2K24?
Not for 2K24, but it is something that we always put at the top of the list. But then one of the things that would, this game is like trying to juggle all of the different improvements that we're making to each mode and the type of impact that it does have online. And so making sure that that experience is tight and smooth. So like when we look at like all all of the new additions to match types, that we made this year, making sure that that experience is stable and is fun online is huge for us, right? So unfortunately, some things like my GM being online has to take a back seat to some of these additions, but it is and will remain at the top of the list as something that we want to try to support. Hopefully, we will get it out someday soon in a future release, but right now for 2K24, it's not.
All right. And I got to ask about the Ultimate Sandbox mode that you guys have in your game that keep people coming back and playing and playing. Universe mode. Every year people are just have like these gigantic wish lists of all these improvements and additions they want to see you guys implement into universe mode. What have you guys done to universe mode this year to make people take a step back and go, "Oh wow, this is a whole new upgrade that we've never seen before"?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a whole new upgrade. I think we have a strong foundation of what we added last year with the rivalry actions, and we added more rivalry actions, like run-ins, Money in the Bank, and also supporting all of these new match types, right, within Universe. I think is extremely important and also difficult for us, right, because of the way that Universe is structured. Trying to get any of that stuff in takes a whole effort from not just the Universe team but the entire game, right? And so any improvements that we try to make throughout the rest of the game, we try to make sure that Universe can accept all that stuff, like with creations, any new additions that we make there, all of that stuff has to work within Universe. And like I said, just expanding on what we added last year with the rivalry actions, double title matches, those are the huge improvements I would say that we focused on for this year, which to me are a welcome addition, and will make Universe feel that much more, I would say, in tune with the rest of the game.
Yeah, I don't really know how it's going to work, but I did notice in the press release you guys mentioned a loser leaves town match in universe mode this year, and that sounds like that could be a lot of fun. I'm not really sure how that's going to play out, but that definitely I raised my eyebrow. I'm like, lose leave town, that's interesting. That's something I would not have expected to be added this year.
Yeah, it's those things that we try to every year figure out what's doable within a year's time, along with everything else that we're trying to do, and luckily that made the list, right? So we're extremely happy about all of the additions that we have in Universe and throughout the rest of the game, to be honest.
All right, I
And
don't want to keep.
I was just going to throw this in just because I know,
Yeah.
Matt, you've been covering the game for a long time, and I don't think I've mentioned it yet today, but we have the ramp facing camera is making a return to the
Oh,
franchise.
nice.
So that is something that players will be able to experience this year as well. It'll be an option that players can turn on and off, but it is making a return in 2K24.
It's great to have the option, especially in a Royal Rumble match, to be able to see the entrances again like you could back in the day. That's a really neat feature I think people are going to love.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, and also like with Gauntlet too now, right? So it's just like seeing like who's
Right.
coming down the ramp. I would say like to me, it's just one of those presentation qualities that you're just like, oh, you just like it changes the look of the game, and it just makes it look a little different in a good way.
And it really does reinforce it. I think one of the things that I love about it is that it makes choosing the arena you fight in
Yeah,
that much more important, because now you're seeing the stage area. It's like you're getting that visual. So it's like it matters now which arena I want to compete in. So yeah, I think fans are really going to be happy with that new addition.
Yeah, with the 40 years of WrestleMania showcase, I imagine there's a lot of stages to choose from this year in this game. So that was a very good idea on your guys' part. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I could talk to you guys all day about questions and things I have about this game. But WWE 2K24 coming out March 5th for the deluxe and the Legacy of WrestleMania version, I believe it was called. And then March 8th for the regular edition. Cody Rhodes on the cover of the regular, Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair on the cover of the deluxe, and multiple WWE legends on the cover of the Legend edition. Bryan, Lynell, thank you guys so much for your time. I hope to sit down and talk to you guys again soon. And I'm looking forward to trying out WWE 2K24 in March.
Cool. Thanks,
Awesome.
Matt.
Thank you, Matt.